Port now.
A little bit.
And then
All right.
whenever we're ready, I guess.
All right. Just making sure my phone is in airplane mode. I don't want it to freak out on me. Okay.
Good thought. We may pick up TV from the next room over here, but I can't do anything about it.
And that's okay. I've got my family here too, so you might hear a random clodding of foots or whatever. Hey, we'll be lucky if the dog doesn't break through the doorway in here and say hello. That yeah, we'll probably end up doing that. So I get to see your dogs all the time. Maybe you'll get to see mine today.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get started. And if we flub it up, I can always edit stuff out too. So,
Sure.
all right, Thomas. I'm actually really excited to get to see you and talk to you in person because I hardly ever get to do that, and it's always a joy.
Yeah. Same thing here. I'm always watching you, and it's like, I would just like to say hello and spend some time and talk and stuff, and we just don't get much of an opportunity. So it's kind of the, from behind the scenes. It's just a good time to be able to talk. I know we've had
Exactly.
an opportunity to talk a few times, and every single time it's so good. So, Maria, thank you for having me.
Very, very welcome. So, with that said, because people don't know why we've had a chance to talk, or maybe even why you're here,
Oh
would
yeah.
you like to share a little bit of the background of why that is? Why you're the person that I'm interviewing about Operation Christmas Child, and why that's so special to me and you?
So I'll try to give you the short version and best I can, but the good thing is that this is not a live broadcast, so we can edit it however much we want to, or as little as we want to. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'll try to give you the short version so you don't have to edit it quite as much. But you, Maria, are the reason why I'm here doing what I'm doing today, because you answered the call and you did what you were assigned to do, which was broadcast the message of the gospel. And you answered something that God asked you to do. He said, I want you to use the gifts, skills, and talents that I gave you. And you actually listened to him. so many of us, so many of us are in this exact same position. And we set without knowing what we're supposed to do. And it's exactly right there. He's given us all of the tools, each one of us. And if we will just listen to his voice, he'll guide us. And he told you, he said, you need to get on and just play some music in the mornings. There's not people on that are doing this. And because of that, it has brought viewers like me to your stream. And I've enjoyed watching you for almost going on 2.5, 3 years now. So it's a pretty big deal. But I've enjoyed the process. I don't want to call it a ritual, but it's in the mornings of being
Yeah.
able to wake up, like you brush
Hmm.
your teeth, you get your hair ready, that type of a
It's good
ritual.
habits.
That's right. A habit. Yes. Positive habits. And my pastor, Pastor Craig from Life Church, he speaks about that pretty regularly in
Hmm.
just developing good habits. And that's something that I was able to find through watching your streams. So thank you for answering God's call to do these types of things, because it puts an emphasis on what are you serious about, to know that there's people that are just like you, that are just as passionate about Christ as you, that
Hmm.
are like-minded as you, that are not afraid to get on each and every day and do what
Hmm.
God says to do.
It's awesome to have the opportunity to share that kind of enthusiasm with other Christians, but it's also just a real blessing to know that you have friends out there who feel the way that you do about your God, and
Yes.
all every day of the week, not just on Sunday
Yes.
morning.
Exactly. And that's what we've been taught for so long is, we're supposed to go out into the world and spread the gospel message. And even though we're doing it through our life, we're maybe it's at one stoplight at a time with every person that doesn't deserve to have Jesus over them, but we're giving it to them because, they're being crazy on the road. Or um, maybe it's whatever the job that you're working in. And you're just like, oh, Lord, please help me be patient with this person because right now they are not needing
Hmm.
my patience. Yes, they do. They need my patience. They need my patience. So,
Yeah.
but that's answering the call, and you've given that call a direction here, and it puts people like me entertained. I mean, in the morning, I'm ready to wake up and see what's going on in a bright, happy, smiling face that's ready to say, hey, it's God forward for the day. How are you
Mhm.
guys doing today?
Mhm.
And I know if you're going to be there doing it, I'm going to be there doing it too. We got to be there, right? We got to
Yep.
be at work.
Yep. Yep.
So it gives me, I don't want to say an excuse, but it gives me a direction to be, hey, this
Mhm.
is a poignant reason to be here. And it doesn't have to be just on a Sunday morning where I have to get up and put on my clothes and do all these things, you know. Um, Here I can just turn it on and have a cup of coffee and maybe grog out for a minute while I'm trying to wake up. But whenever it comes to praise and worship music and the joy that your community brings to my face and my spirit, oh my goodness, yeah, I'll be there each and every day. So,
We have
um,
such a good community, so many really sweet people who just really care for each other. And sometimes I'm just blessed to see what they're doing in chat while I'm singing, just loving on one another and praying for each other. And they almost don't even need me there sometimes.
yeah, exactly. But it's um, it's been a big thing for me because I've been doing broadcasting and stuff on and off for many, many years. And as part of that knowledge of knowing what I wanted to do, it wasn't anything to do like this. I wasn't thinking that I could be a mouthpiece to nations. That's what you are, ukulele. You're a mouthpiece to nations, Maria. On your channel, you're a mouthpiece to nations, and there are so many other friends that we could name drop and use them as well.
Hmm.
They're mouthpieces
Hmm.
to nations.
Yeah,
Flat
not
Cat
just
Pepper
me.
Pastor. He's a mouthpiece unto nations,
Hmm.
using this platform, and Satan can't stand it, and I love it.
And he can't do anything about it
He
either.
can't stand it. He can't stand it. He's like, no, no, just play games. Don't
Hmm.
think about this stuff, and
Yeah.
definitely don't get involved in your communities from people that are doing good stuff too. Yuck. Oh, just go to the hot tub channel or whatever. Oh, and you're
Yeah.
just like, no, just I'm not even going to be in the same position because those folks are right
Hmm.
here on community,
Hmm.
and I invite them in, and not saying that I'm better by any means. And that's the other thing I love about you. Never once does it feel anything less than humble and wholesome watching your streams. It's just amazing how you're willing to bring people in at each and every level. And that includes the trolls. We know you. You need love too. You
Yeah.
trolly people, you need love. And we got it here because inside of us is Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
And he's got the most forgiving spirit that you'll ever have. If you just receive it, he'll forgive you. And it's just, it's an amazing blessing. So thank you for having me.
Well, since you've been with me for 2.5 years, you already know what's coming up in a few days. And that's November. And the whole month of November, I pack shoe boxes for Operation Christmas Child.
Yes.
And we started doing that because of my grandmother years and years ago. And you started doing it too. You want to talk
I
about that a
did.
little bit?
So it's weird because for so long I had seen the shoebox ministry. It was, all these different things for me. And I've heard other people use the same type of layman culture. It's different words for it, but it was packing toys in a shoebox for kids.
Mm-hmm.
That was really it. And just being born and raised in America, in Oklahoma, in a Christian family value. I mean, we got a church on every other corner. It just depends on what flavor your religion is. You could just go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing how many of those churches have got this program or others that are like it. But it's a shoebox ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's not that I had never seen it before. I didn't really think much of it besides just that's the right thing to do. That's the godly thing to do. Yes, pack some toys or things. Oh, they put like a toothbrush in there, and oh, that's a good thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it took me all these years to watch your stream finally and see it. I was not expecting it to come in from something like this, and it did. And whenever it did, it sparked something in me. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I remember that. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, we haven't done that with our kids yet. We need to pack some shoe boxes,
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I felt like a little bit behind the times here. I'm like, here you are trying to tell us as adults, hey, you could pack some shoe boxes for these kids that are in great need on the
Mm-hmm.
other side of the world. And And then it was the message, the videos that Samaritan's Purse had, and you started showing some of those.
They have
And
such great videos,
oh my goodness.
every one of
And
them.
I started doing some research, and I'm like, oh man, this isn't just some toys. We're talking about the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
This is salvation, Maria.
Yeah,
We're sharing salvation in a box of something that they already need, right?
yeah.
They need that salvation more than anything in that box.
Anybody can
So
send toys, but not anybody can bring Jesus to somebody who's all the way across the world. But we
that's it.
can.
That's it. And so just watching you packing those, and I'm like, okay, so my family, we're going to do this. So we ended up packing that year, took 4 boxes down. So it
Mm-hmm.
was one for each of us. And little did I know, but during that same time period of life, I had been praying some pretty scary prayers and just asking God, I want you just to kind of wreck my world right now, Lord. Because I don't want to say I've been complacent, but as a Christian, there's a level of complacency that's there. We have a great responsibility on our hands. Whenever you know the difference between just right and wrong, but being right within your own flesh,
Mm-hmm.
being right to your eyes and to your mouth and to your spirit, those are good things, yes.
Mm-hmm.
God smiles whenever he sees us like this. But he also asks us to go out and to do something with that. And to me, I felt like going out was whenever I'm out at work, or like I said earlier, at the stoplight, or at the convenience store, and people aren't being so friendly, and I'm like, no, 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 go ahead. You're
Mm-hmm.
definitely in a hurry, and I'm not, even though I really was, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you otherwise.
Well, those are
But
good things, but there's always just that little bit
that's right.
more.
That's right. And it's really the part that I saw the most, whenever we took the shoe boxes in, and the ministry that was in that box. I was already aware of it, but I had been praying. I said, Lord, if there's something different that you're wanting me to do, I just want you to tell me what to do. And he said, yeah, what you're doing right now, you think that you're doing it good. I just want you to be rid of it. I just want you to stop doing what you're doing. I'm like, what? What are you talking? And at the time, I'm playing video games, and I was streaming in between here and there. And I'd seen several spiritual streamers, Christian streamers, that were not afraid to proclaim the gospel message online, which to me was just like, wow, you guys, this is, and it really hit home because it wasn't just a few years ago that a very good friend, somebody that I had played with for many years, that I found out later was not Christian, um, told me during a private playing session with some other friends, oh, you're a Christian? I didn't know you were a Christian.
Ouch. Ouch.
Man, that didn't do me good.
No.
In my spirit, I was like, "Ooh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that." And as we got to talk a little bit more, the Holy Spirit really started working on me. And he's like, it's not that I had, and I started playing it back in my mind. It's not that I was so bad with my mouth. I wasn't sitting there
Mm-hmm.
cussing so over the top with them, but I just wasn't being the forward witness that I could have been even while we were playing games, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So taking all that into stride, I just started saying to the Lord, if you have me do other things, what can I do? He just said, hey, what you're doing, just stop. And I just want you to focus on me. And I just decided to do it. And I don't know if that was just a test that he was giving me, if I was serious, because you know how we are as silly human beings.
I
We
don't
kind
think
of make
so. I think everybody goes through that at some point. Honestly, I've heard a lot of people say that, and I've had times like that too, where
yeah,
sometimes you just need to block everything else out and spend some
yeah,
time with him in order to get the clarity and in
yeah,
order to pick up what he's got for you next, in order to, yeah, just shed all that other stuff and
yeah.
move into the next space, because you can't fit through the door with everything you're carrying.
Mhm. So it's building castles. We build up these false castles in our minds. It's I want this to look like this. I want things to be like that. Maybe on your stream, it's the way I want this all to be, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that those things aren't good. It's just that you'd be surprised the things that seem like they're so minuscule, but they become idols in our life. things that take our attention off of what God's really wanting us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the more simplistic we can keep it sometimes, or do it as professionally and all this kind of stuff as you want, but I'm saying keep God at the forefront.
Focus.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the part here, through this mission. Whenever I came in and took my shoe boxes in, I was just completely open to him just wrecking my world, and he did. I took those shoe boxes in that day, and they handed me a media packet, that had all these different positions in it that Operation
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Child has to have in order to work.
Yeah, those year
And
long positions,
yes,
not just
and
November.
yeah, not just a packing party or, thank you so much for everybody that's out there in the churches. I don't want anyone to ever hear this and think otherwise. Thank you. What you're doing is fantastic. And it would not happen if it wasn't without you. But there is so much more on a yearly basis that happens, and you have to have people in those logistic roles. And just so happened to be that there was something inside of that packet that resonated within me, which was media.
Mm-hmm.
And as a media support volunteer now, I cannot tell you how much I thank you on a regular basis. And I talk to my wife about it all the time. I'm like, honey, if it wasn't for doing these things as God's asking me to do, I would be half of the person that I am today. And there's so
I
much
feel the
that
same
I've
way.
peeled back,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much that I've peeled back and away from what I would have considered to be, my persona, my
Mm-hmm.
person. This is who I am. None of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
None of that matters. Jesus matters. Jesus matters. And as long as you keep him at the forefront, I feel so amazing now. I wake up with a feeling of a mission
Mm-hmm.
example. I'm going to do this today. I'm so ready to do this today. And so much so, that was the message that he gave me, was subdue the day. I woke up one morning and he said, today you are subdue the day. And I'm like, I'm subduing the day. Got it. No, you're subdue the day. I'm like, I'm gonna look. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look. And I pull up stuff and it's available. I'm like, this is okay. This is a different direction, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
where it's gonna go. And he hasn't shown me much more besides just that at this point. So I've just been sitting on it. It's been over a year now, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, God, I'm open, where you're wanting to go, what you're wanting to do, and I'm sensitive to the Spirit. This is one of those things. So thank you.
So he takes little things, and I talk about that all the time,
Yep.
just little things, and uses them in such big
Big.
ways. It's
Yes.
amazing. And
Yes.
that includes shoe boxes.
Yes. I got lots of shoe boxes here.
I do too.
So,
You can't see him in this camera angle, but
yes.
I've got a bunch. And he's been doing it. Well, he's been doing it for all time. But with Operation Christmas Child, he's been doing it for how long now?
30 years.
30
Yeah.
years. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I
30.
think my
This
family
year
may
was,
have started the first year.
I know. This year we've been celebrating 30 years, and they just got finished this previous packing season, delivering the 200 millionth shoebox.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can think about 200 million souls have been given the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
come to Christ
Mm-hmm.
through the receiving of gifts that he's instructed people just like you and me to take time out of our lives to pack those loving children that have absolutely nothing, everything against them. We fight in the spiritual realm here so much. And we fight with having to pay our taxes and keep our vehicles filled with gas. And I don't know how I'm going to make it to the next week's paycheck because I've got to get my daughter some shoes for tap dance lessons, or it's so much different worldwide.
Yeah.
And without going down this dark hill, just understand that we are very privileged here.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that we can do in that sense, is so minuscule to us, but to them it is a huge, huge blessing. And the most important blessing is Jesus. And whenever
Yeah.
they open up that gift, that's the first thing they think to themselves, Maria. Why? They're
Mm-hmm.
and then they look at it and they say, but why me?
Yeah, you hear it over and over again in the videos. People are like, I got this shoebox and I thought, really? Somebody all the way across the world cared about me enough to do this?
Yes. It's
And
because of Jesus
then they get
saying
the
to
message that Jesus cares. Jesus is the one that
Jesus
cares about you.
asking us to. And
Yeah.
the other part is, and I know we'll probably come back to this as part of the interview too, but um, it's not a forced message on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone that's either a non-believer or someone that just isn't for sure about how the program works, Samaritan's Purse is top honors whenever it comes to delivering the message of Jesus in a way that is open to everyone, but is non-wavering. There is only one way. There's
Mm-hmm.
only one way, and that is through Christ Jesus. But it's not to condemn or talk down or anything else. It's just to open the doorway and say, we're all guilty. We all have sin. We all are going to have our judgment day. And whenever we present that with Christ, He is that ticket. He's already paid it for us. So, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
So happy, so happy. So,
So we need to go down our list of questions because we've been on for a while.
yes,
So, with Operation Christmas Child celebrating its 30th year, as we just mentioned, for those people who may not have caught my stream before, may not have been with me on Third Thursday, may not have ever seen an Operation Christmas Child shoebox video, tell us a little bit about what Operation Christmas Child is.
absolutely. The Samaritan's Purse Project, Operation Christmas Child, it aims to collect gift-filled shoeboxes packed with fun toys, school supplies, and hygiene items, and then delivers those items worldwide to children of need, all in a hopes to give them a tangible gift that helps represent God's love. And that's really the mission of Samaritan's Purse and Operation Christmas Child.
It's just as simple as that, a shoebox with stuff in it.
That's it. And it's got the most beautiful message inside. They can come back, they can receive that as part of their process. So, yes.
So, how do we get involved? How does somebody who's never done this before get started?
SamaritansPurse.org/OCC is about the best way that you can do it. If you forget the forward slash, just remember Samaritan's Purse. Or if you just Google online for anything to do with Operation Christmas Child, it'll usually come up. I would go off of the main things off of Samaritan's Purse website, though. That's the most important. And then they're going to start showing you the details on there. A lot of churches in your hometowns should already be prepped and ready to go. But these are just little guides that help you understand the whole process and how it works. You can grab any shoebox. It doesn't have to be the ones that you see in a lot of the brochures, the ones that they sell at some of the stores like Mardell's or Hobby Lobby. You'll see those. You can purchase those absolutely, and they love having those because it makes it a very easy to use gift. It's ready to go. It's a plastic box. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the churches have a cardboard box, but they're nicely packaged. Don't have to have it. You could get any standard box. You could use the shoebox from your attic, or
Mm-hmm.
just clean it up, make it good, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and let's pack it with some items. And then all you got to do after you've packed it with the items that are outlined again in the brochures or online on the website, and we'll talk about them here too. But once you've done that, then you're going to take them to collections. And we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But they have National Collections Week, and that's coming up here in just a few weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up soon,
Yes.
actually. Okay,
Yes.
so what are some of the things to put in a shoebox?
All right. So what we're looking for first is the wow item, and what the wow item is usually it's like the teddy bear. It's the maybe a soccer ball with a pump, something that's inside of it that where the child's going to look at it and just be like, "I have always wanted this. This is awesome and amazing." And for us here in the States, I play a lot of games. My wow item growing up as a kid was a Teddy Ruxpin, and it was a teddy bear that had a cassette tape player in the back of it. And
You're dating
I'm
yourself.
telling you, I know, right? And so, but that you'd put that little cassette tape in,
Mm-hmm.
and the bear it would talk and sing to the tape, and
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I mean, I know that there's probably some home video out there with me as a kid getting emotional over the Teddy Ruxpin singing to me, but I swear it was an amazing moment. Those are the things that we're talking about, something that really gets their attention. And here in North America, our wow item is probably a lot more than what the wow item is there. So keep it simple. Could be a Barbie doll if it's for a girl, obviously. For boys, sometimes we want to gravitate towards army men or something like that, and that's not really what we're wanting to go for. But we'll talk about the nose list too. Just think about things that would be fun for the kids to play with, and they're going to see it. Past that, you're looking for school supplies and hygiene items. Those are all easy to do. I've got two kids at home, so packing for back to school is like no big deal. We got this. So whenever we do that, we usually just get an extra couple of items for those. So
Yep.
whenever it's time to pack a shoebox, we already have those items ready to go. Um, Pencils, crayons, erasers, scissors, papers, things that they would usually use in a class.
Yeah.
And then I think I already said about hygiene items. Toothbrush uh, is amazing. A washcloth, a comb, just personal items like that that they can use in an environment that is much less than what there are in our own homes. So,
Yeah. You think how hard you try to get your own kids to brush their teeth, but there are kids that don't have running water and they don't have a toothbrush. And
right.
what a blessing for them to finally receive something and be able, they'll be excited to be
Yeah.
able to take care of their teeth. It's just a
Yeah.
whole different atmosphere.
Yeah, and I know we've kind of gone here already, but I'm just telling you, if you can see the faces and hear the stories of some of these children that have received something as simple as a toothbrush and been so excited, overjoyed with it,
Mm-hmm.
and then their brother or their sister that wasn't able to come to the shoebox distribution for whatever reason, and then they would talk about sharing this toothbrush. So I'm
Right?
telling you guys, if you could put four of them in a box, and that's what God leads you to, pack four of them in there because I would almost guarantee you that there's more than just one person in that family,
Yeah,
and those other three brushes are going to go to great use. Trust
that's a
me.
really good point. That's a really
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, just pray about it. And I'd say that's probably the biggest thing too that we probably skip over because we put all these things into the box. But prayer is what we need to put into the box. So a loving message after you prayed about it and gone over it with your family. Take a moment, write down a message, and tell these kids exactly how blessed you are because of Christ.
Yeah.
And now you're sharing that blessing with them. And then just tell them how much you love them and maybe put in a picture or something between you and your family, anything like that. They love to have correspondence. Some of them even communicate back. So, like, if you have an email address, drop your email address in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if you wouldn't get some correspondence back off of that. And it's actually promoted. That's something that we want
Yeah.
to highlight too.
Those personal
But
things are
praying,
so important and impactful because it shows that there's a real person behind what they're getting.
yes,
And we met somebody online who received a shoebox with a drawing, a child's drawing of an angel. And as an adult, much later in life, still has that drawing because it meant that much to them that somebody bothered to share what they had drawn with somebody they didn't even know all the way across the world.
yes,
Now, there are some things we can't put in shoeboxes. Like when we're talking about those toothbrushes, we can no longer put in toothpaste because customs
right.
is the way
And
it is. So, what are some other things that we might think we want to put in, but we can't?
I usually try to keep the TSA in mind whenever we're talking about things like this because usually we're used to traveling somewhat, or an item that you shouldn't be packing into your luggage. It's the same difference here. Mouthwash, no, don't do it. Anything that's liquid. So I know it might seem like a good idea to pack a water bottle into there. No, don't.
Can't
Nothing
send
that's liquid.
bubbles.
Yeah. Bubbles, anything that would be liquid. Think about it this way too. If this package is going to them, you want all the contents to end up getting to them in a good condition. You wouldn't want to pack chocolates or something in there. They're not going to have that as well. But don't be stressed about the no items because they are pretty long, but it's a good thing once you see it. You're like, okay, glass. I shouldn't put that in there. It's a good thing. It's a glass Christmas tree ornament that has my family on it. No, it's glass, so don't do it.
Yeah.
If you just go onto the website or again here on in the brochures, it tells you pretty specifically. And there's forums too. If you're part of Facebook, you can go on to facebook.com and they got / for OCC on there as well. But there's lots of forums, maybe right there in your own city, where people are talking about what they should or shouldn't do, or look at the new box that I packed. Some of them are themed. Ukulele,
Yeah,
dude.
some people go really overboard.
They're so sweet. And it's like, this is the Superman box, and you're like,
Yes.
everything in there is Superman. This
Everything
is
in
the
there is
Barbie
Superman.
box.
There's a T-shirt. There's shoes. They've
Yeah,
somehow managed to draw Superman on
yeah,
the lid of the
inside.
box, and it's like, how do you
You open
do
it up,
all
it's like
that?
Superman's face inside the box. You're like, oh, this is so cool. So yeah, that's the wow. So
If you're the opposite of that, because I know some people are, if you want to get involved but you don't want to go all out and buy the
oh
things,
yeah,
maybe you don't leave your house ever, because we have some friends who have some issues, but you want to be involved. How can you do that? Is there a way to pack a box without leaving their home?
I'm so glad that you brought that up, Euclid. No, wonderful transition, by the way. How did we get there? SamaritansPurse.org/build online. No spaces, just build online. And what they allow you to do there is to go in and make your own shoebox online using the items that they're suggesting for you. These would be good things. And you can pick them out of that. And you can even include your own personal message right there on the online box, too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that they take that individual element that would have been missed if you don't do it in a personal box
Yeah.
in a store or whatever. You go online and do it, and they still give that to you. So it's really easy to get into. They do ask for it's a $25 donation on those guys, and then whenever you do that, not only do you get the box items and everything, but then you're going to have the personal tracking too. You're going to be able to see that box being delivered to folks as well. Which, by the way, I know we just got on online, but for $10, the $10 donation that is needed to get those boxes to where they are, because
Mm-hmm.
they don't, Amazon doesn't ship for free. Well,
Yeah.
your Prime membership, okay, but you pay per year for your Prime, so it's,
We
the
haven't
money's
convinced
in
them
there.
to ship our Operation Christmas Child boxes for
Right.
us through Amazon, so we do have to pay the shipping on them.
They got to work on that.
Some
But yeah,
people's churches have like a shipping angel, so ask,
true,
if you can't afford the
true,
shipping, but $10
true.
you get the sticker and then you track
Yeah.
your box.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
then with that, and it's the same way whether you're building online or in person. But you'll get like a little thing here if you're doing just in person. You select whether you want a boy or a girl, the age group, and then the little QR code. You
Hmm.
send the $10 in it, and that activates it. So whenever those things go through, you're able to find out exactly when that child is getting their gift, and I love that.
We always reveal that on my channel as soon as we find out too.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see where they've gone and to read a little bit about those countries and why the shoeboxes are there, what's going on, either politically or with the climate or whatever's happened in that area, and why the shoeboxes are such a blessing.
Yeah.
If you
And
think about it, the online shoebox is actually a really good deal because
yeah,
$25 minus the $10 shipping, that's $15 to fill
it
up a
is.
shoebox.
There it is.
You go to the dollar store and fill up a shoebox, you're going to probably walk out with $15.
Yeah.
So it's a good deal.
The other thing I like to share on the online stuff too, I found this out just the last couple of months, but those online shoe boxes go specifically to hard to reach areas. So if they're in a war-torn area right now, I know that they're going to have people on the ground, and for Israel, for instance, I know that
Mm-hmm.
there's stuff that's going on there. So that helps bring those boxes there quickly, as where for ours here, we're having to pack them and it goes through this long process, and they're going to get there sooner. They're going to get them at one point. But with doing something like this, that's allowing Samaritan's Purse to be able to get to those areas and get them gifts faster. So that's a definite reason to use that as well.
Speaking of processing, and we'll just touch on this really quickly, the processing center is important and really helpful if you might have a little anxiety about whether your box has the right things or enough things in it. They help out with that, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, they can at the processing centers, they have like a rehab area, where they go and actually look at the boxes. They're going to check them, make sure that, you didn't mess up and put the wrong things in there anyway. So I'm not saying use it mindlessly, but they're going to look in your box. Don't feel too worried about it in that sense. And then they're going to see it, and if there's things that might be missing that they're like, you could really use something else in this box that the child needs, and we know that it needs it, then they can put those items in there as well. So yeah, don't be too overwhelmed with it. Pray about it. God will send you exactly to the things that you need to do for the children that you're packing for, and rest assured, whenever you close that box and send it off, It's answered prayers, absolutely answered prayers.
So we need to get those boxes filled up, closed up, and turned in when? When is National Collections Week this year?
Starts the third weekend in November. And it's the best way to remember it is it's always the week before Thanksgiving. So, and it's excellent for parents if you have a big family and you got all these things that are going on, and you're like, I need to have all that stuff done
Yep.
before I even start the holidays, before I start baking any pies or making anything to eat. There you go. So the third weekends, which this year it's November 13th through the 20th. So that's for 2023. And then what we'll ask you to do is to look at the website. You can go to SamaritansPurse.org / OCC. They'll have a whole list of drop off locations by your zip code
Yeah.
where you can take your shoe boxes to a drop off location, which ironically enough, is a lot of churches have that available. You just take those there. And if it's like the place that I took my shoe boxes, you might just get yourself recruited because it's like the North Pole there. That's the closest thing I can say. I told my kids that whenever I came home because I didn't take them. I thought that I was just going to go drop off some boxes, you know. And little did I know they should have been there with me because it was the closest thing to the North Pole as possible. And the joy and the spirit that was there was just so amazing and thankful and grateful and welcoming.
Yeah.
And they brought all of us in and took my box and then set me down and talked to me and wanted to know my ministry. And I
Yeah.
got to speak about you and I got to speak
Oh,
about a couple of other people. And I'm just like, I want you guys to know about this. And then they pass me my packet. So yeah,
that's
go and
amazing.
take your shoe boxes in, or order a couple of them for pack online too. But do it. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
It's perfect that it's right before Thanksgiving. It's a great way to start the holiday season with some giving and get into the spirit of things and get that, like you said, get that part done before you launch into all the family stuff.
That's it.
Um, just a wonderful way to catch the spirit of the season.
That's it.
All right. I think we had a couple more questions left, but I think I'm going to wrap it up now.
I understand. We'll talk about them some other time in chat. So don't worry about it.
It's been awesome spending some time with you. Is there any last thoughts that you'd like to share?
I just want everybody that sees this to know what a true blessing you are to not only community members, to your friends and family in ways that you might not feel that you are, but trust me, you are. So in those moments when you feel like you're not able to show up, that you don't have anything to give, that you don't have any blessings in your life that God has given you specifically for ministry, trust me, just like Maria has, she's listened to the call. And even though it was a small thing, right? The ukulele was a small
Just four
instrument.
strings.
Um, it was still an instrument that God had blessed her with the ability to use. And it was ultimately her decision to listen to his word or not. So he's got the exact same thing inside of you. And if shoeboxes is your thing, then do your thing. If playing the ukulele is your thing, do it. If going to your local grocery store and just telling people, thank you, Jesus loves you. He loves you. And I appreciate it. And you'd be surprised. People need that. They need that.
Yes.
There are times I want to just give people a hug and you can't. Maybe COVID-19, the whole time period in life, it just kind of shut things down to where we can't do that like I want to. But
But we'll come to
spiritually,
Florida. You get plenty of them down here.
right? Well, at least spiritually, I can give you a hug, and it's good because the virtual side of things has taught me what it feels like to not only live vicariously, but also to love vivaciously and without any type of expecting off of that in return. So I receive love, I give love. God gave me love, so I have to give love back in return. And He gave you the most beautiful love ever in His Son Jesus. So if you haven't received Him yet, find somewhere quickly to do it because the time is nigh. This
Yes.
is the time.
Yes.
This is the time, and you can feel something just over this ministry in your heart. And if He has already worked on you, then it's your mission now to go out and declare the message of Jesus
And you
right
can
now.
do it with something really simple, like a
Yes,
shoebox.
that's it. Do it right now.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.